السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. MashaAllah. Long time no see. Allah, it's been a long time since I talked here. I think 4 years now. Yeah, it was before the Corona last time when I came here. How was the time of the Corona, those 3 years? How did you find them? Difficult? I'll tell you the truth. They were the best years of my life. Wallahi, the best time of my life. When it started, I suggested on my social media that we do tadabbur for the Quran because there's a lockdown. And during this lockdown, I suggested that people do tadabbur. Tadabbur means pondering the Quran, that we ponder upon the Quran. And I suggested that we start with Surah Yunus because we are locked down and Prophet Yunus was locked down as well in the whale. After 28 days, we finished Surah Yunus and the lockdown was not over. So people said, why don't we continue? I said, fine, let's take Surah Hud. After we finished Surah Hud, the lockdown is not over yet. It's actually getting worse. And people are afraid of entering the plastic bags from the groceries. You remember this? We were afraid that the virus is on them and stuff. We didn't know anything. And we, for over like 50 days, we're really enjoying Tadabbur al-Quran. So the guy said, why don't we just continue until we finish the whole Quran? So I said, listen, I'm talking about thousands of people. Daily, about 4,500 on YouTube, and about 7,500 on Facebook, and about a few hundreds on Instagram, and a few hundreds on Clubhouse. Clubhouse just started at that time. So we're talking about like 12,000 every day with me, all over the world. And it was in Arabic. It was Arabic. So most of them were Arabic. So they said, why don't we continue until we finish the whole Quran? I said, I'll do that under one condition, that we make a pledge, all of us, that you are with me every single day. We will not skip until we finish the whole Quran. So they pledged. We finished the day before yesterday. 1,010 halaqas. The average was like 35 minutes of every halaq. Some halaqas reached 45 minutes. Some halaqas were like 28 minutes. But the average 25. So it's about 550 hours of explaining the Quran. Tadabbur. And guess what happened? Because we started with Surah Yunus unintentionally. That was not in our intention. We finished with which surah? At-Tawbah. And Surah At-Tawbah is the last surah that descended actually. It descended after Tabuk, at the last year of the Prophet's life. And it was mind-blowing, mashallah. Mind-blowing. We found a lot of things. Number one, I always said that before the Corona and before this Tadabbur, that in order for the Quran to benefit the human being and to upbring his personality, it must be read with Tadabbur. Tadabbur. There is no escape from Tadabbur. But I discovered during this lockdown series, it's called Maqata' Hadr al-Tajawul, the videos of the lockdown. That's how we called it. I discovered that it's not only that it has to be read with tadabbur, with pondering. No, it has to be read every day in order to affect your personality. Like an antibiotic. You know, when the doctor prescribes for you antibiotic and tells you that you need to take a capsule every 500 milligrams of antibiotic every 8 hours or every 12 hours. That's because you need this concentration. If you take it but you don't stick to this concentration, like every 2 days, 3 days, when you remember you take one capsule, it's not going to benefit you. Because you need to be affected by the concentration. Same thing with the Quran. You should not be away from the book of Allah for more than 24 hours. Otherwise, you'll be walking like a dead mobile. A mobile with a dead battery. Because the Quran is the charger that charges your heart with Iman. So sometimes you walk and you feel distressed and depressed and you don't know why are you feeling like that. Because you ran out of fuel but you don't know. You need tadabbur at least every 24 hours. And my suggestion, half an hour in the morning, half an hour at night. Tadabbur, pondering, can be done from a translation too. And I don't know if you know this or not, but I think last time I came here, I was telling you that I was translating the Quran in a way that allows tadabbur in English. And alhamdulillah, my translation is out, and it was published like 2 years ago. It is called Bridges Translation of the 10 Qira'at of the Quran. It's free on the app. So you can download the app, Bridges Translation of the Quran. It will appear quickly for you. And it's the only translation, alhamdulillah, in the world with the 10 modes of recitation. Okay? So that's what I suggest. Today I came to speak about the linguistic, miraculous aspect of the Quran. Because the Quran is miraculous. And many of you heard that the miracle of the Quran is in the balagha, in the eloquence in Arabic. But today I will challenge this and tell you that it is not the eloquence, because eloquence is something unmeasurable. So you cannot challenge someone with something that is unmeasurable. It is something else. So let's start, inshallah. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. All praises are due to Allah, the creator, the cherisher, and the sustainer of this universe. And may his peace and blessings be upon his noble prophet Muhammad and his descendants and his companions and his followers, dear respected followers of Prophet Muhammad. When you talk about English language, or the English literature, one must talk about Shakespeare, because definitely he is the most prominent author in English. And what makes him important is that, and what made him famous is that his words are used by people as meaningful words of guidance. And many people use his phrases and his quotations not knowing that it's Shakespearean. Like, for example, when you say icebreaker or breaking the ice, that's a term that he came up with. When you say melted into thin air, what's done is done, to be or not to be. People enjoy using these phrases, but not one person said that they are miraculous. Because at the end, he was speaking their language. Yes, he is definitely the most eloquent person who wrote in English, but maybe someone may come who will be more eloquent. So they don't say that he's miraculous. So this is if we are talking about English. If we are talking about Arabic language, the most fabulous text in Arabic is the Quran. Everyone knows that. Muslim Arabs and non-Muslim Arabs as well. A very famous non-Muslim Egyptian, a billionaire called Najib Sawiris, appeared on TV a few years ago and he said, I'm Christian, but I tell my children, if you want to be strong in Arabic language, read the Quran. And he doesn't believe in the Quran, but he believes that the Quran is the most fabulous Arabic text. Everyone knows that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala challenged the masters of the Arabic language. Pagans, they are non-Muslim poets and authors of Arabia. And Allah challenged them to come up with a Quran like this. And actually at that time the Quran was not that much. That was in the beginnings in Mecca. We're talking about like 1/10 or maybe just 20% of the Quran that we have today. The rest did not descend yet. And Allah said, bring a Quran like this. What shocks me is not that they couldn't. What shocks me is that they did not even try to challenge. They did not try. Historically, not one tried to do that. So the challenge was eased and reduced to 10 surahs. At that time in Mecca, well, you know, the shortest surahs of the Quran are the Meccan surahs actually. One of them is 10 words. Surah Al-Kawthar is only 10 words. So Allah said, bring 10 surahs like this. Again, they did not dare to try. And we're talking about amazing authors and amazing speakers, amazing poets. They were strong. You know, Arabic was like the dough in the hand of a pizza chef in Italy. You know how he works with the dough? For them, Arabic language is so easy, they can do anything with it. But they did not try to challenge the Quran. Why? The challenge was even made more easy. One surah, bring one surah like this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَمْ يَقُولُونَ افْتَرَاهُ قُلْ فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِثْلِهِ وَادْعُوا مَنِ اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Or do they say he has fabricated it? Say, then produce a single surah like it and call upon whomever you can apart from Allah if you are truthful. The question is, why didn't they try to challenge the Quran? Simply because they felt that it was not the language they speak. It sounds Arabic and it sounds beautiful, but it's neither poetry nor prose. This is not sher and this is not nath. That's not their language. They don't know what that is. The only two styles until that day was either poetry or prose. But this is a new style. You know, Allah sent with every prophet a mu'jiza. Mu'jiza in English means sign. A sign that proves that this prophet is genuine, that he's not an imposter, he's not a liar. And for example, the cane of Moses is the sign that proves that Moses is a genuine messenger from Allah. He turned into a snake and it ate the ropes and the canes of the magicians, right? And Moses used it to split the sea. Moses used it to make water gush from the rocks. Among the signs of Jesus, son of Mary, peace be upon them all, was to cure the sufferers who suffer from leprosy and blindness. Those who were born blind, he cured them by the grace of Allah, by the permission of Allah. He even revived the dead. He gave life to a dead person with the permission of Allah. He made from clay a figure that looks like a bird, and he breathed into it, he blew into it. Yeah? Okay. Someone is blocking in Tesco. It is AF17AEY. Just tow him. Okay. None will be here doing that. Anyway, you know why? Because we are not allowed to harm a neighbor. So no one, check him in a bar. Anyway, it's not the brother, by the way. Okay. See, he's not the brother. When I said that, people looked at him and said, Alhamdulillah, he sat down. Anyway, so these were mu'jizat. Why are they called mu'jiza? The cane of Moses. And the word mu'jiza in Arabic, it means unchallengeable. It means something, a sign that makes people incapacitated. So the word miracle is not a good translation for mu'jiza. Why? Miracle means something outstanding, something that is against the laws of nature. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the pebbles were heard making tasbih in his hand. We don't call it mu'jiza. We call it khariqa. It is something outstanding. It is something that is against the laws of nature, but it's not mu'jiza because it did not happen in front of the kuffar. It happened among the Sahaba. So it did not happen in front of opponents who want to challenge it. Why? The message of Moses was a temporary message. It was abrogated by the message of Jesus. The message of Jesus was a temporary message. It was abrogated by the message of Muhammad. The message of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is an eternal message until the end of time. So it should have an eternal mu'jiza, an eternal miracle, not a miracle that needs its prophet to perform it. The cane of Moses needs Moses to perform it. But the mu'jiza of Muhammad doesn't need Muhammad to perform it. It is the Quran. So the Quran is the message and the sign that proves the genuineness of the message. The Torah is the message, but the cane of Moses is the sign that proves the genuineness of the Torah. The Injil is the message of Jesus, but the signs that Jesus made proves that the Injil is genuine. But the Quran is the message, and the Quran itself is the sign itself that proves its own genuineness, and it's until the end of time. That's the issue. But back to the question, why didn't they challenge the Quran? I'll tell you. They never tried. The best poets of that time, they never tried to challenge the Quran, because as soon as they heard it, they realized that it is going to incapacitate them. It is going to make them, to cause them an embarrassment if they try to challenge it. It's a style that they never encountered before. Before the Quran, I told you there were only poetry and prose. But this is a new text, and that's why in our translation, the word ayah in English is what? No. In our translation, it is sign. Sign. Ayah means sign in English. Why did 168 translators translate it to verse? Because they walked on the footsteps of biblical translators. So biblical translators said verse, we also said verse. Verse is a wrong translation for ayah. Verse is bayt, maqta'. It is the unit of text of shi'r, of poetry. The poetry consists of verses. Jumla or sentence is the unit of text of prose, nathr. The Quran is neither poetry nor prose. A unit of text of the Quran cannot be sentence and it cannot be verse. It is ayah. It's a sign. Every single unit of text of the Quran is a sign of God that proves that there is a God. That's the issue. When we read in the Quran the word bayinat or bayina, al-ayat. When we read the word ayat, we don't know if Allah means these ayat are the mu'jizat, the miracles that He gave to Moses, or are they the ayat of the Torah? So you find the translators, they have to choose. Should they say miracles or should they say verses? We don't have this problem. Ayat, signs. And the English reader will have to understand that this word entails both meanings, the signs of al-wahi or the physical signs that were performed by the prophets. So we now agree together that every single ayah of the Quran is a miracle in itself. It is challenging. Okay, so what is the miraculous aspect? I said, eloquence cannot be something that you challenge people with because it is unmeasurable. You can't measure it. Someone may tell you, okay, I don't like it. It doesn't sound good. You lost. It is not the eloquence. It is, or the miraculous aspect of the Quran is the ongoing series of astonishing linguistic innovations using variety of new forms and new features. It's like a completely different language, but with the same words of Arabic. And I will give you now some examples. Let's take an ayah, the very first ayah from Surah Al-Mujadilah. I will read it to you in Arabic and in our translation too. In Arabic, we do not talk like that, nor in English also. But in Arabic, when we hear it like this, we like it. It sounds good. But that same format, if we use it outside the Quran, it's unbearable. Listen. قد سمع الله قول التي تجادلك في زوجها وتشتكي إلى الله والله يسمع تحاوركما إن الله سميع بصير. Allah has surely heard the statement of she who argues with you concerning her spouse and complains to Allah, and Allah hears your conversation. Indeed, Allah is all hearing, all seeing. Even in English, nice, acceptable, huh? Listen to this. I will read it outside the Quran. How? I'll just change the name Allah with one of, what's your name? Fadi. I will make it Fadi. So if I, instead of saying Allah, I'll say Fadi, this is not Quran. In Arabic, it's unacceptable. قد سمع فادي قول التي تجادلك في زوجها وتشتكي إلى فادي وفادي يسمع تحاوركما إن فادي سميع بصير. Unacceptable. We don't speak like that. Fadi has surely heard the statement of she who argues with you concerning her spouse and complains to Fadi, and Fadi hears your conversation. Indeed, Fadi is hearing and seeing. Unacceptable. It hurts the ears. But in the Quran, Arabic or English, it's nice, beautiful, acceptable, everything is fine. That's the miracle. That's the miracle. The same format outside the Quran is unbearable. In the Quran, it's nice. So the miracle is the same Arabic words in the Quran. It's like a new language. That's why they could not challenge it. They felt like if they try, it will cause an embarrassment for them, and it's like someone crazy trying to go through an unpenetratable wall. Unpenetratable wall, so they didn't. And like that, there is a series of innovations in the Arabic language like that. Sometimes the number of innovations in one surah is more than the number of its ayat. A lot of innovations. That's amazing. The second example is something that maybe I spoke about it before, which is the qira'at. The qira'at is actually mind-blowing. It's fascinating. Qira'at are the different modes of recitation of the Quran. And this is the answer to the question, why did Allah choose the Arabic language from between all the language that existed at that time for the Quran? Why not any other language? Because of the qira'at. There is not one language that can embrace the qira'at. Not one. Only the Arabic can embrace the qira'at. What is the qira'at? The qira'at is like changing a diacritic mark from fatha to dhamma, and it changes the meaning of the whole ayah. The meaning changes, giving another meaning, and both meanings are not contradicting, and the ayah that has a variation in the qira'at that affects the meaning, because 70% of the difference in qira'at does not affect the meaning, but 30%, about 420 or something, they affect the meaning. And here is the miracle. The whole meaning of the ayah is built on layers of qira'at. Layers. And that's mind-blowing. I'm going to give you some examples if you want. Okay. In Surah Al-Shu'ara, Allah says, وَإِنَّهُ لَتَنزِيلُ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ نَزَلَ بِهِ الرُّوحُ الْأَمِينُ عَلَى قَلْبِكَ لِتَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُنذِرِينَ. And most surely it is a bestowal from on high, from the Lord of all realms. The trustworthy Spirit came down with it upon your heart, that you may be of the forewarners. What does that mean? نزل به الروح الأمين. الروح الأمين is Jibreel, Archangel Jibreel. It means that Jibreel came down with it upon your heart. Jibreel is the subject and the Quran is the object. مفعول به, right? But there is another قراءة يعقوب. Instead of nazal, it is nazzala. Does it make a difference? A huge difference. A huge difference. Instead of nazal, nazzala. Instead of الروح, it is الروح. نزل به الروح الأمين. It's a completely different meaning, but it doesn't contradict. It means He, Allah, bestowed the trustworthy Spirit with it from on high. Allah became the subject of the ayah, and Jibreel became the object, maf'ul bih, because Allah sent Jibreel with the Quran, another object. Why is that? It's because at that time there was an allegation against the Quran. Because when those shu'ara, when those poets saw the beauty of the Quran and the miraculous linguistic aspect, and they could not challenge it, they said, okay, we cannot deny that it cannot be the word of any human being, but not necessarily the word of Allah. So what do you mean? They said, maybe the demons, maybe he's receiving this from the devil. This ayah is answering that, because in the same surah it says, وَمَا تَنَزَّلَتْ بِهِ الشَّيَاطِينَ, and in no way have the devils been descending with it. So this ayah is answering this allegation by saying, In the first qira'ah, Jibreel is the one who came down with the Quran on the heart of Prophet Muhammad. The second qira'ah says, Allah is the one who sent Jibreel down with the Quran on the heart of the Prophet. If you combine both meanings, it gives you the full picture, the whole meaning. That's why the qira'at makes the ayah vivid. It makes the ayah like become high definition. It starts moving. It's mind-blowing. This is mind-blowing. Let me give you another example too. I'll tell you something. Recently I was interviewed in Canada by an imam called Yusuf Wahb. He is one of the people who helped us in the translation of the Qira'at, by the way, and he's a scholar of Qira'at, though he's very young, mashallah. And he asked me, if you were a non-Muslim and you studied all what you have studied in Islam, what could have been the most that will attract you to become Muslim? I said several things, but probably the Qira'at. The Qira'at is amazing. Take this. When Allah stopped Prophet Moses in the desert at night and he made him a prophet, and he told him, after he made him a prophet, to go and warn Pharaoh and his people. So he said, also in Surah Al-Shu'ara, قال رب إني أخاف أن يكذبون ويضيق صدري ولا ينطلق لساني فأرسل إلى هارون. And recall when your Lord called to Moses, go to the unjust people, the people of Pharaoh. Will they never be mindful? He said, my Lord, I fear that they will disbelieve me, and my chest tightens, and my tongue is not fluent. So send for Aaron. Send Harun with me. There's a different qira'ah, also the qira'ah of Yaqub. Instead of وَيَضِيقُ صَدْرِي وَلَا يَنْطَلِقُ لِسَانِي, it is وَيَضِيقَ صَدْرِي وَلَا يَنْطَلِقَ لِسَانِي. That's it. Instead of the dhamma in يَضِيق, يَضِيقُ, يَضِيقَ. Instead of the dhamma in ينطلق, ينطلق, it is ينطلق. Does it make a difference in meaning? A huge difference. The first one, وَيَضِيقُ صَدْرِي وَلَا يَنْطَلِقُ لِسَانِي, denotes that Moses is telling Allah that his chest tightens frequently. This is his nature. He's someone who loses his temper quickly, which means that he gets easily nervous by nature, and that his tongue is not fluent. You know, Prophet Moses stayed for 10 years outside the country, not speaking the language of the country. I don't buy these things that say that Moses had a problem with his... no, come on. When Allah chose people to be prophets, He chose the best eloquent people who can speak. But when you go and spend 10 years, actually 5 years I spent in America, when I came back to Egypt, I had to use an English word every now and then. I forgot. Allah sent me. Yeah. So imagine someone going to stand in front of a king and he can't use the proper language. So he came back and he's not fluent. So he told Allah, and I'm not fluent. But the other qira'ah, it means Moses told Allah that he is afraid that his chest will tighten when he speaks to Pharaoh. And that his tongue will not be fluent when he speaks to Pharaoh. What does that mean? Which one did he say? Did he say to Allah, I am afraid that my chest will tighten? Or did he tell Allah, my chest tightens? Did he say to Allah, I am afraid, according to the second qira'ah, that my tongue may not be fluent or will not be fluent? Or did he tell Allah, my tongue is not fluent? He said both together. He told Allah, I am afraid that my chest will tighten because I'm already like that. So imagine when I'm in that situation. And I'm afraid that my tongue will not be fluent because I'm already not fluent right now. Send someone with me. Understand me? So the qira'at gives you a whole picture of like the whole story. Every qira'ah is a layer. It's giving you one side, which is true and happened. But whenever there is a difference in qira'at that affect the meaning, the miracle here is that the whole, because some people criticize the Quran and say, see, those qira'at are just mistakes. No. In case of a mistake, mistakes makes, it will never be something, if it's mistakes, they will be contradicting with each other. But not, the qira'at are never contradicting, it's just layers that are building the meaning. Yeah. Variations. So like that, I would love to, if you want to expand on reading about the linguistic miracle of the Quran, the book is of a Syrian scholar who lives in Oxford, by the way. He's 80-year-old. May Allah bless his life. Dr. Ahmed Bassam Sa'i. And his book is in Arabic, but it was summarized in English in 100 pages. And it's downloadable for free from our website, bridges-foundation.org. And it is called The Miraculous Language of the Quran, Evidence of Divine Origin by Ahmed Bassam Sa'i. You can download it from our website. Or if you know Arabic, then you better read his book, Al-Mu'jiza. And for more information about the qira'at, if you want, I want you to check my interview with this scholar from Canada. It's on my YouTube channel, Bridges Foundation channel, and it is called Interview with Imam Yusuf Wahab. And if you want my translation of the Quran or the Bridges translation, because not only my translation, I was heading the team, but there were others who worked maybe more than I for 4 whole years continuously, non-stop, working on the translation of the whole Quran and with the qira'at. You can download it on your mobiles for free, whether Android or iPhones. Just go to the store of apps and type Bridges translation of the Quran. I have a video of your Sheikh here, Sheikh Muhammad Mahmoud, saying that this translation of Bridges is the best translation. But I did not post it on the internet because he mentioned the names of other translators in that video, and I didn't want to offend them, and they are my friends, yani. So I didn't post that video. But he said that it is the most accurate. And you have to understand something. When you download this, you will see something strange. Whenever you see a pronoun you, for example, or an imperative verb, say. Imperative verb means fi'l amr, say. You will find next to it a small superscript. SG means singular. PL means plural. That's because in Arabic, you is anta when I'm talking to one person. But when I'm talking to 2 people, antuma. When I'm talking to more than 2, 3 or more, antum. But in English, it's just you. So the other translators did this, which was also a good idea, that they put you and between brackets, O Muhammad, which means singular you. Qul, between brackets, O Prophet, which means singular qul, not qulu. So the English reader, when he reads, Qul, O Muhammad, huwa Allahu ahad. Qul, O Muhammad, a'udhu bi rabbil nas. Allah didn't speak like that. So what we did is, we removed the brackets and we just put SG, Qul, singular. Whenever it is Qulu amanna billah, we say, and next to it, PL, plural. We don't put O people, because maybe Allah means O believers. Why should I impose my understanding on people? So in our translation, we are focusing on translating the way Allah spoke. For example, 500 times in the Quran, Allah spoke about the hereafter in past tense. Nearly every single time. You will never see this in any translation. All of them change into future tense. And the evildoers shall be thrown in fire. Allah didn't say that. In Arabic, وَسِيقَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا إِلَى جَهَنَّمَ زُمَرًا. In our translation, when you go, you will find it. And the evildoers were thrown in fire. Past tense. And by the way, this is the main reason why I spent 4 years of my life to do this. Because I met 4 great translators during the last 20 years, and I asked them in a bold way, and I meant it. They are professors and everything, and I respect them, but I meant to be bold. Who gave you the right to change the tenses of the verbs? And they say, what do you mean? I said, I mean, when ظاهرة الالتفات, the phenomenon of grammatical shifting, when Allah speaks about future events in past tense. They all said the same thing. The English reader will find it awkward. And I say, no, I'm sorry. 2 things here. Number 1, Arabic readers also found it awkward, and this made us do tadabbur to understand why Allah spoke like that. You are depriving English reading Muslims from knowing how Allah spoke and depriving them from doing this tadabbur. Second, we as Arab Muslims are not the guardians on non-Arabic speaking Muslims. I'm sorry. We should not treat them like children. No, I'm sorry. They have the right to know how their Lord spoke. Just give it to them as it is. Don't tell me I'm afraid they will leave the religion. They know it's not a mistake. It's 500 times in the Quran. It's not a mistake. They will ponder like you ponder too. Understand? So this is the issue. In our translation, it's as it is. But you will find a footnote, because what they told me also scared me. So I wrote, frequently the Quran addresses the events of the hereafter in past tense, and this is a point of pondering. It should be pondered by the reader. And don't push on you my own pondering. It is you who should have your own personal experience with the Book of Allah. This Book of Allah, and this shakes me, this ayah always shakes me. إِنَّهُ لَتَنزِيلُ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. It means it is the word that was descended from the Lord of all realms, which means this is not like any other book that was written in this world for the world to read it. It is a book that came from outside the world for the world to read it. And it goes in depth into your details of your psyche. And it speaks to you about your own self and how you think and how you feel. This is the book that attaches you to the ghaib, to the unseen, to the al-mala' al-a'la, to the highest assembly. This book, its words are not ink on paper. Its words are actually ruh. And Allah said so. وَكَذَلِكَ أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ رُوحًا مِّنْ أَمْرِنَا. He told Prophet Muhammad, I have revealed to you a spirit by my command. It is a spirit, it's a living being, but you have to treat it as a wahi. Don't treat it like just words that you have to memorize. And no, wahi. When you treat it as a wahi, a revelation from Allah, it will change you. When you are reading the Quran, you are receiving wahi. You are not, of course, claiming to be a prophet because you receive it through the prophet. But deal with it as a wahi that is revealed to you from upon 7 heavens to change you from inside. I have seen amazing things happening to many people. I have seen people who stopped antidepressants after years by sticking to doing tadabbur, half an hour in the morning, half an hour at night. And add to this, learning how to pray with khushu'. They stopped antidepressants. ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. But we have the medicine, but we don't use it. And we just keep complaining. Anyway, let me stop here and take your questions if you have questions. No, yes. My application is Bridges, Translation, Quran. If you just write those 3 words, you'll get it. What are the 3 words then? You know the 3 words? What are the 3 words? Write it. Okay, Bridges, Translation, Quran. You'll get it like that. Okay? Download it. And by the way, if you go to the settings, it has multiple reciters. So you can choose different qira'at and compare, or you can choose also a qira'ah and the English, because our English translation is audio, you can hear it. You can use Arabic, but it's a bit slow when it toggles between Arabic and English, but it's good for people who are learning. Yes? It revealed to the Prophet ﷺ, and he read it like that. And we have evidence from the Sunnah. For example, Lady Aisha in a hadith in Al-Bukhari said, I heard Prophet of Allah reading نَزَّلَ بِهِ الرُّوحَ الْأَمِينَ. So the example that I mentioned here is actually, there's a hadith of it. Yeah. And people, well, if you watch this video of my interview with Imam Yusuf Wahb, I'm explaining how the qira'at came and so on. Okay? And it's on my YouTube channel. YouTube channel is called Bridges Foundation Channel. Yes, Akhi.
I have 2 points. The first point you mentioned about the you with singular and plural.
Yes.
But in Arabic we also have the female and the
I know, yeah. But that was going to be too much. I didn't. Yeah. I know. I agree with you. But I can't do that with everything. Just making SG for singular, PL for plural, DL for dual. It was like a bit difficult for people. But by the way, people who got used to it found it addictive, and they can't go back and read the other ones like before, because like that it's clearer. They know here you singular. Allah is saying, speaking to Prophet Muhammad probably, like that. Come.
And then the second point, can you talk to us about the Khalq al-Quran? There was like a debate, I think, in the
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of info, so can you tell us a bit about
But that's a whole big topic about the creation of the Quran. Is it created or not a creation? And the Mu'tazila said so. And Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal stood against it. And he had his own arguments. And he was tortured. And his torture is giving more credit to his theory, actually, which I find it not good, actually. Because when you're talking about a debate, keep this aside. You understand me? So not only the Mu'tazila, Al-Ibadiyya say the same thing today. And I believe that you cannot just say, it's not about kalam. It is also about qawl. So the qawl can be created, but the kalam is not created, because the Quran is, I'll tell you something. If you have an app of the Quran on your mobile, and you just retrieve it, what do you read? Arabic, right? Quran in Arabic, right? But inside the mobile, in which language it is? The language of the mobile. You understand me? So Allah said, Inna anzalnahu Qur'anan Arabiyan. So Allah descended it in Arabic. Exactly. So the words itself, في الذات العلية, يعني there is is a صفة من صفات الله. It is his own word. You can't say that Allah said it in Arabic. Allah said he descended it in Arabic, and you cannot say that he said it in Arabic. You understand me? So there's a big difference between al-qawl and al-kalam, but it's something that nothing will be built on it. Nothing will, so it's just a topic that I always avoid, because what I hate actually is that people are using the suffering of Imam Ahmad to prove their point. That's not a proof. That's not a proof. Keep this aside and tackle the issues. The reason why the Mu'tazila went that way is because the Mu'tazila are the most who debated the Christians. And they wanted to, because we say that Al-Masih Kalimatullah, right? And when you say that Kalamullah is not created, then the Masih is not created. And so they said, no, Kalamullah is created, and because they are debating with the Christians on Sami. So they were afraid that the same thing will appear in Islam and you will have logos and stuff. That's it. But I believe that it's nonsense. We don't need to talk about that. The Sahaba never discussed this. All the differences between the Salafis and the Asha'ira was never discussed among the Sahaba. Between the Mu'tazila, it was never discussed. Why? Because the Sahaba were caring about what benefits them. But going into such topics that can just, maybe I stick to a belief that is not the right one, and we're talking about things about the attributes of Allah, maybe this will make Allah angry with me. But why? I don't care. Understand me? It's not going to affect my... Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much for your nice questions. Yes.
Is there any relation between Qur'an and the accents of Arabs?
Relationship between the Qira'at and the accent of Arabs? No. But there was a relationship between what is called Al-Ahruf and the accent of the Arabs. Al-Ahruf. But Al-Ahruf were abrogated at the last year of Prophet Muhammad. He did Al-Arda Al-Akhir, Al-Ardatain Al-Akhiratain with Jibreel in the language of Quraysh. Okay? Al-Harf Quraysh. And this is what had to do with the accent of the Arabs. Different accents. But among the differences of the Qira'at, I told you about 30% can affect the meaning, but 70% does not. This is a different in ada, performance. Like for how long you do this, like for example, Hamza stops before the Hamza. Imam Hamza says, Al-Ard. This is a difference in performance. Okay? Yeah. Jazakallah khair. Yes. 2 points. Okay, the brother is asking me, your mutaba'in are Arab, right? Really? Okay, good. How, if we want to start doing tadabbur, what is your advice? My advice is start with a workshop that I have in Arabic and in English. This workshop in Arabic is also a playlist of 15 episodes called Mafatih al-Tadabbur. It tells you how to do tadabbur, the keys of doing tadabbur. In English, it is a workshop of 4 episodes. It's like 4 hours or 3 hours and a half, called How to Ponder the Quran Even If You Do Not Know Arabic. You write that on YouTube, you will get this playlist, and you take this workshop first. It tells you the points of doing tadabbur. For example, when you read an ayah, you have to stop and think, what is the relationship between the tail of the ayah and the main body of the ayah? Why did Allah say, Innaka antal azizul hakim here, instead of saying, for example, Innaka antal ghafurur rahim? And you ponder about these things. So this is a very important workshop. And then start by Hazr al-Tajawul. If you are Arabi, there is a 1010 videos playlist that has all the surahs that we did, and start with our sequence. Start with Yunus. like we did, and end with At-Tawbah after that. That was really amazing because that was nearly the sequence of the Quran because At-Tawbah was the last actually surah descending. And At-Tawbah, especially At-Tawbah, because the nature of the ayat of At-Tawbah, it needs preparation. So it was really, really well and smoothly like butter with people after taking the whole message first. That was nice. In English, I have only few surahs. Al-Fatiha is in English, 9 episodes. There's a playlist. And anyway, I hope that you guys go to our YouTube channel, Bridges Foundation, and subscribe. And yeah, let me make something out of this. Huh? The second question is what? Future plans, inshallah, if they allow me. Huh? Actually, right now it is transcribed and it will be a book of tafsir in Arabic, inshallah. Printing what? The book is there, by the way. It is sold on Amazon, Waterstones, but you have to order it online. And I think it's a bit overpriced, but anyway. It's like 40 pounds, but it's a big book like that. 1.5 kilos. So you will buy, has beef in it. Yeah.
It's something else of the topic. I was just asking, while you was on Muhadara in the US, somebody at the time was Muslim. I'm sorry to the word, he spat on you and he said that you murtad.
Yeah, that was not in the US, that was in Denmark when someone spat at me and told me that I am murtad.
Is he English?
No, he's Danish. He's Danish, yeah. That was in Denmark in 2006, and I was giving a lecture, and it was, is Islam a religion of peace or a religion of war? At that time, 2006, just before the cartoon, by the way, in Denmark, because we felt that something is going to happen in Denmark. So we went especially for that. We felt that there's a lot of tensions in Denmark. And as soon as I said that what happened on 9/11 cannot be accepted in Islam, this guy, he is a convert, and 4 others, they stood up, they spat at me. He spat at me and he called me murtad. You are a apostate, and he threw a chair on me and stuff. So the security came to kick him out, and I said, no, leave him. Since he said that, I have to debate with him in front of them. And then I said, why do you say I'm murtad? He said, because you don't know, the Quran says, punish them exactly as they punished you. And they, non-Muslims, kill our innocents. I said, but non-Muslims did not only kill our innocents. I said, non-Muslims did not only kill our innocents, they also raped our women in Bosnia. So what do you think? Does this ayah allow you to rape women? He said, no. I said, why not? If the ayah is general, and it says, punish them as they punished you, and you say, they killed our innocents, so we are allowed to kill their innocents, why don't we also rape their women? See, this ayah talks about the magnitude of the retaliation, not the type of retaliation. Punish them exactly as they punished you. It means if they slap you 1 slap, you would slap only 1 slap, not 2. If they do this, you do this. But still, we have red lines. Innocent people or civilians are a red line in Islam very clearly in the teachings of Prophet Muhammad himself. So this is very important for you to understand. And then he left because he couldn't debate against me. This guy is today a murtad. He is a murtad now. And he has a video on the internet saying that he ordered beer and bacon so that anyway, those non-Muslims would believe him that he became a murtad, and he is a murtad now. So that's what I'm saying. Extremism is not extra religion. Extremism is the phase before leaving the religion. Yes, most of the apostates were extremists before. Believe me, extremism is the phase before leaving the religion. It is not extra religion. There is no extra religion. Religion is about wasatiyah. To be in the middle. It's very easy to be extreme on the right or on the left. But it's hard to be in the middle. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. And this ayah is exactly in the middle of Surah Al-Baqarah, number 143. Subhanallah.
You said just divided by two, and you can find out.
Yes, exactly. Subhanallah. Yeah, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Okay, you first. Okay, him, yes. Sheikh. Okay. Qira'ah is not a font. Font is the way you write. And this is there in the font of the Maghariba. For example, the Qaf has only one dot. The Fa, no dots at all. So that's a font. But at the end, when a Maghribi reads it like that, he will read it exactly like I read it. Okay? But it has nothing to do with the Qira'at. Fonts is how you draw the letters. Okay? And it's not a Quranic art. It's not a religious art. Fonts are a completely Arabic art. Don't say font. Do you really mean font? What, the way we draw the letters? Just stick to the one that we bring from Saudi Arabia and in Egypt because it's the main one. The Moroccan font is a bit awkward. You know, some letters don't look the same. So yeah, but even in Warsh narration, there are masahif that in the normal font. Yeah. So he's teaching with the font of the Moroccans? In South Africa, yeah. I'm not sure which one do they use there, but I think they are using the normal one, the normal drawing of the letter, like the Egyptians and the Saudis and everyone. I think so. Yeah.
Do you think it's better to ponder first without reading the tafsir? Or do you think you should read tafsir first?
Okay. There is, if you watch the workshop, How to Ponder the Quran, you'll find that there are two types of pondering. One is called pondering with your heart. And this doesn't need tafsir. It's mainly you just turn any ayah into a dua. You read the ayah and then you ask Allah. And that's the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, that whenever he is reciting and he comes through words about the Jannah, he stops and he asks Jannah. Comes about Nar, he stops and he seeks refuge from Nar. He come across words that talk about a group of people, good group of people like Al-Muttaqeen, he stops and he asks to be from Al-Muttaqeen. A bad group of people like Al-Munafiqeen, he stops and he seeks refuge from being like that. This is called heart pondering, doesn't need a tafsir. But the other type, which is the difficult one, which is the intellectual pondering, yes, you better read tafsir, and I suggest that you read the new tafsir. Tafsir Ibn Ashur, the Tunisian, is the best. The best. I hope it is in English. And then comes after it Al-Razi. I'm not sure if it's all translated yet or not, but Sheikh Suhaib in Edinburgh or in Glasgow made the first juz or so. And then comes after that Sayyid Qutb, Dalal al-Quran, in the shade of the Quran. It's fully translated by the best translators, Shanis and Salhi. So these are the tafsir that I like. What do you mean? Ibn Kathir is okay too, yeah, but stay away from al-Tabari. I don't like tafsir al-Tabari. It's for ulama. It's for scholars only. Yeah.
The reason I asked that is a lot of the translations that we do, they're not simple.
Yeah. May Allah bless you. Yes, please, that would be an honor. And send me your points. Yes. Sorry, again, I'm sorry. Huh? Huh? Inshallah. Yeah. Yes, how to ponder, even if you don't know Arabic. Yeah. Four lectures. No, this is only a workshop that trains you. And then you need to ponder the Quran yourself. Then you take my translation and you start pondering from it. And there are some surahs in English on the same channel, like Al-Fatiha is there, and Al-Kahf is there, and I think An-Nur also is there, but it's an old one made here. Yes. I need to stop now. Okay, khalas. That's the last one. Huh? Who's waiting? Okay, here and there. Then. Okay, we start with you start and then the dessert. Yes. It is what? No, who said that?
There is some controversy. People who want to prove that has some mistake.
No.
Yeah, but
Don't answer them, they are silly. The word is written Zabaniya. Why would they say Rabbaniya? And if you go to the text itself and the meaning itself, it won't be even going like that. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah. There is a PDF copy that you can buy for less than £3. Yeah. I didn't really understand. No, it's not £40. I'm sorry, $40. It's £24. Yes. So what? He wants the PDF. The PDF is on our website on Bridges. You buy it for £3 only. And still, if this is a problem, you just send an email. We will send it for free. No problem. Everything we have is for free, but except the book itself. The publisher is an American publisher. I can't do anything with it. Yeah. Yes. Yes, of course, different qira'at. Half of the Qurra read it Maliki Yawmiddin. Malik is the king of the day of judgment, and the other one is Maliki Yawmiddin, which is the master of the day of judgment. Malik, yeah, master, yes. Well, yeah, there's a very slight difference in meaning, but still we need to ponder it, and you will see me pondering it in this halaqah, because in the halaqat of Al-Fatiha, I am pondering even the different qira'at, but go and watch it. Now I have to close, and we're not going to do justice to the topic if I just rush it like that. خلاص جزاك الله خير بارك الله فيك. ها؟ يا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. خلاص؟
Jazakallah khair, brothers and sisters, those who managed to attend our Meadows of Paradise. It will continue, inshallah, every week on Friday after Isha prayer. Jazakallah khair, or Dr. Brother Sulaiman. Jazakallah, after a long time to have you here, inshallah.